All right, we have another little grammar lesson to help you out with your writing, and this time we're going to be focusing on exact language. So as always, let me pull up this PowerPoint. So exact language, what do we mean by exact language? So exact language is where, as Mark Twain would say, you have the difference between the lightning bug and the lightning. And finding that exact right word is just like that. It's the difference between the lightning bug and the lightning. Which one's going to have a better impact? I would say the lightning. So when we're using exact language, you are actually striving for the lightning instead of the lightning bug. The first thing we're going to cover is appropriate language. And in formal writing, we want to avoid slang. And I want you to think about, when you look at this resource on why avoid slang in formal writing, think about why it should be avoided in daily use too. And I know that typically I tell you I'm not going to correct your spoken grammar, but there are times when you're using slang in that daily use and it actually becomes embedded in your everyday language, and that translates over into that more formal type of writing. And then we've got jargon. What is jargon? Well, jargon is where you are trying to sound very smart for the sake of sounding smart. It's exactly what it is. So appropriate language versus jargon would be just adding in a little explanation of that word. Maybe you're in the medical field and you know all those terms. Doesn't mean your reader knows all those terms. You know, think about a time when you've gone to the doctor and they've used all these really big words and you're like, wait a minute, I don't quite understand that. I had to do that a lot when my son was hospitalized and they were using all these really big terms, and I said, hold up. Can you just give it to me in plain English? And really, that's what we're talking about when we talk about jargon, is they're using all these really big technical terms that kind of leave you off in left field, and you don't want to leave your reader like that. So just adding in a phrase for one of these technical terms that you understand but your reader doesn't is extremely important. And I do have some more resources for you when it comes to slang and jargon, you know, words to avoid, avoiding slang and jargon, appropriate language overview. These are just some great tools for you to be able to kind of solidify that idea. When we get to an exact language, that lightning versus the lightning bug, we have another resource, and you know that what is exact language? Well, exact language is where you take what you're trying to say and you make it very clear and very concise, so there's no wiggle room for interpretation. Think of it as if you're trying to explain to a 7-year-old what the constructs are, where the boundaries are. They're going to try and find any little loophole they can. So if you have words like should in that construct, well, if I should be doing this, it doesn't mean I can't be doing that. And so taking out some of those vague words and tightening that language up a little bit really helps. You know, it makes it more concise for your reader too. What do you think are the most common words or phrases that should not appear in your academic paper because maybe they're not exact enough? I've actually got a list that a few of my classes have helped me to solidify over the terms. A lot, utilizing a verb form when applicable to avoid a weaker noun form. Could, should, those are definitely, those come up every term. Soon. And anything along those lines, soon. Well, what does soon mean to you? Because that could mean something completely different to me. Oh yeah, we'll get to it soon. I guarantee you a 2-year-old's definition of soon is, you're done talking, let's do it now. And your definition of soon is maybe in the next half hour, maybe in the next couple days. So these are vague words that could be misinterpreted. Now, I'm not saying to avoid them altogether, but I am saying they're the lightning bug, and maybe you need the lightning instead. And these are not the only ones. There are plenty of other nearly. Oh, she nearly got hit by a car. Well, are we talking, a couple of inches where we're sitting on the edge of our seat, or are we talking a few feet where, oh, it's not as close as you thought? These are definitely terms where if you're thinking about it, well, in my brain, it makes sense, but it might not to your reader. Lightning bug, lightning. Be a little bit more concise. And so, of course, I do have resources for exact language here too. Words and phrases to avoid. We have techniques for more precise writing and filler words to eliminate. And of course, as you're looking at these lists, and you don't have to go through them with a fine-tooth comb, you just kind of want to look through them for what you need. You can always use that Command F or Control F, depending on what system you're on. Apple is going to be Command F, Windows will be Control F, and you're going to do a search in your paper for some of these words and see if maybe you can eliminate them. Academic language is really where you're going from something vague to something very specific. You're also, with academic language, going to try and eliminate personal pronouns. Now, there is a time and a place for them in academic writing, and you're going to have to decide if this is the time and the place, or if that's something that you should be leaving out. Yes, I know, I used a lightning bug word. Typically for academic writing, we leave out the personal pronouns. I, me, my, you, we, us. And we leave these out because if you're telling your reader, well, you should, you've set them off. They're a little bit more on edge. They may not listen to you because nobody wants to be told what they should and should not be doing. So think of it that way. Or if you're stating I statements, they're going to start thinking, what makes you such an authority on this? Instead, if you take that focus and you put it where it belongs, on your topic, where your topic is center stage and your topic is the star, and you put that focus there, those personal pronouns are naturally going to come out. You do want to explain specific terminology so that you're not using those jargon words where your reader's going to get lost. And anytime you have an acronym, you want to spell it out completely the first time, because while you might know what that acronym stands for, your reader might not. And so always, always, always on the first use, make sure that that is completely spelled out. All right, I do want to thank you for your time and watching this lecture. I hope you found it helpful. If you're in one of my classes, you will find the resources from this PowerPoint listed below. If you need anything, as always, make sure you're sending me a message through the LMS, either Canvas, Brightspace, or Blackboard, whichever one of my classes you are in. Always send through that way to make sure I get it. Thanks so much.